He has made music with outstanding musicians: Frank Sinatra, Barbra Streisand, Aretha Franklin, Fantasia, Basie, and Take Six. He has played to an international audience at the Oscars. He has performed in countries from Russia to Australia and dozens of places in between. But trumpeter Scotty Barnhart always returns to Tallahassee to share his skills and talents with the community he calls home.
I love working with the students. That's the main thing. The students here in town, we always attract the greatest, students around the country, from around the world, really. It's a thrill for me to give back whatever I've learned as a musician over the last 30 years or so. So when I have to get on a plane and fly 3,000 miles, I don't mind doing that, because I know when I get back, the students are going to be willing to learn, they're going to be eager to play and figure out what I've learned on my last tour. So Tallahassee is always going to be dear to me. No matter wherever I go in the world, it always has a special place. When I got to 5th grade in school in Atlanta at that time, they say, okay, now if you want to be in the band, you take this permission slip home, give it to your parents, have them fill it out, and you write down what instrument you want to play, and of course you got to go get the instrument. So I asked my parents for a violin. I wasn't even thinking about the trumpet. They said, yeah, we get your violin. So the day came, I got home from school that afternoon, and I knew my mom would be coming home with the violin, so I'm waiting, in the driveway, and I see her drive down the driveway. So it was September 1974, and I was 9, and so she walks around to the trunk of the car, she opens the trunk, and I see this black case in the trunk. She opened the case up, and it was a silver trumpet, and the sun hit it, and it was shiny and new, and I'm a kid like, what? I don't even think about violin. That's how I started playing trumpet, and I've been playing it for 44 years now.
What was the very first song you played?
Mary Had a Little Lamb.
Let's hear it.
1974 in Atlanta, my brother showed it to me. That's the very first song I ever played. I have fun doing it. I love doing it. There's not a day that goes by that I don't listen to the music. And that was from the time I was 9 or 10. I'm 53 now. I've always wanted to be a part of the group of men and women who created, extended, and continue to elaborate on the history of jazz trumpet. So whatever they did to do what they did, I had to learn how to do. Learning how to play the trumpet properly, learning how to take solos, play any tempo, any key, any style, and that's what I'm still working on.
What's the hardest piece you've ever played? And we want to hear it. Perfection.
Well, there's hard pieces in classical music, and there are hard pieces in jazz, and I play both. So since I'm thinking about Flight of the Bumblebee, I just try to play a little of that. Now, I haven't played this in a while, so I'll just, see what I can do. I mean, that's a little bit of it, but that would have to be practiced and worked out, but that's hard. That's hard to do. To me, the music is always in charge. So it's just fun. It's just one big, happy situation if you're prepared for it. I remember one time playing with Frank Sinatra. That was probably the most exciting week I've ever had as a professional musician, because every night we were on stage with him and I had the trumpet solos. I had to play the solos behind him as he's singing, and so the trick became, okay, get out of the fact that I'm in awe of where I am, concentrate on what my job is. Luckily for me, I had grown up listening to his music, so it made it easy, and I was able to relax a little bit and really enjoy him as a vocalist and the banter between the songs and talking to the audience. And then Barbra Streisand, the same thing. She was great. Nice. After the show was over, I'm in her dressing room, hanging out with her in her dressing room. I tell people all the time, when it comes to jazz musicians or people that are associated in the jazz world, it's one big family, and all of these great musicians I work with, they're great people. They're just trying to be the best that they can be and communicate with the musicians that are working with them to give the audience a great show. The Count Basie Orchestra, Mr. Basie was an incredible human being. In his very last interview, they asked him, this is right a few months before he died, they said, how would you like to be remembered? He said, nice guy. Because if I'm a nice guy, that means I'm going to have nice guys playing with me. I'm going to get the best out of them, and then everybody will want to play together. It'll be a happy band, and a happy band is a great band. And so we're in our 83rd year now. The orchestra's 83 years old. That's unheard of. I feel like I was put here to preserve and protect his legacy. That's just how I feel. I spent 20 long years in the trumpet section as a soloist, seeing how everything worked, and I became a part of the management team. I started doing all kinds of stuff, union representative, anything that needed to be done, I was doing it. So by the time I became director, I knew how every area of the orchestra functioned. And so I'm just trying to do the best I can to keep the tradition going, so whoever comes to replace me, everything will be set for them.
Indeed, the greatest jazz orchestra in the world, the Count Basie Orchestra, ladies and gentlemen.
About 2 years ago, a young fellow by the name of John Brown, he approached me and said, look, I would love to start a jazz festival. What do you think? And so I told him, I've already been asked about this for many years, so I didn't think anything would happen of it. I said, why don't we meet, we'll sit down and we'll talk. Next thing I know, we started working together. Rest is history. I just thought it was time. Why does everyone have to go to Jacksonville for their festival? Why do people have to go to Atlanta? Why do they have to go to Clearwater? Tallahassee is a great town. We have the venue for it in Cascades Park, the connections to bring people here. We have the hospitality. And it's not just a festival where musicians come and they play and they get their checks and they go home. They leave money in town for scholarships for local high school and college musicians. I mean, direct checks in the hands of students. We went to FAMU and did that. We went here to FSU and we did that. I have never heard of another festival that does that, that makes sure that when we are done with this festival, there's money left behind for those who need it to further their education in the arts.
What did you mean by, I want that stage to be on fire?
That's a term jazz musicians use to just talk about the level of intensity we want to leave behind on the stage. When the band is done playing and we walk off the stage, we still want people to think we're still there on the stage. That's how intense we like to play and like to leave the music behind after we leave. So when you walk out, you feel different than you did when you walked in.